Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to address Mr. Speaker. I want to follow the due protocols of the Parliament House. And I want to entreat all of you to follow these protocols very well. Once you have majority, you have minority, you have the clerks, there should be a speaker. All right? There should be a speaker. You can address the speaker, after which you also can address the presiding member. Then you can make do with whatever you want to proceed on. And that makes it a duly constituted Parliament House. So, Mr. Speaker, presiding member, clerks of Parliament, majority, minority leaders, invited guests, I am so honored to be invited to come and share my little knowledge on the Constitution with you people. I can see, is it the Speaker or the presiding member? I knew him to be a speaker for some time, but I'm seeing two speakers sitting. But I realized that he was battling with my introduction. And I wanted to communicate to him that he should leave that with me. If I so wish, I'll introduce myself very well and appropriately. Yes. But I want to indeed start by commending the leadership of this guest house for having something like this in place. I recently traveled, just about a month, no, it's not even up to a month. I traveled outside, and then I went in the capacity of a deputy vetting chairman for African law students. Wow. And then I was sponsored by African Union to Addis Ababa, Nelson Mandela Conference Center, where I had the opportunity to deliver a speech. Indeed, I was honored to be given 3 sessions of where I used one particular session to talk about HTU in the form of marketing our August University. And then I also spoke about security, and I also advised African law students. Yes, I'm a master's student of the law from the University of Ghana. I want to advise that you respect the protocols. When Parliament is in progress, any other business ceases because they respect their guests more than even themselves. And as my students as well, because I lecture with the University of Ghana since 2017, I'm still a lecturer of the University of Ghana. So the security is just something the university says I should head because I have the military background. Otherwise, I was taken as assistant registrar. So I am an assistant registrar of the university. Head of security. I lecture with the University of Ghana, and then I also lecture with, I had a contract with the University of Ghana about 5 years ago where I teach access students who want to become students of the university. And so I always teach them logic and then critical thinking. So that is another aspect of me that those who don't know, you don't know, and those who know, you know, and now you all know. Yeah, so as for security, I advise every evening when I leave here, I was just telling him, I postponed my class because of here. Yes. Yeah, so I told them I'll meet them online on the Sakai. So at 3:30, I'm supposed to leave here and then go and have my time with my students with the University of Ghana. So let's make due diligence whilst we are here to give little knowledge. I was telling him that the time given is short, but I like it because I don't have time. Yes, I don't have a time. I don't have time at all. He has been following me long ago, since when I was a first degree, when I was doing my LLB, but I had never had time. after which I started my LLM, which also even need time more than the LLB. So that is it. But I still squeeze myself, and then I said I will meet you people today. All right. So that's just by the way. So I think I've done a in-depth introduction of myself in a different way. Very well. When people call me without even adding my rank in the military, I like it because I'm not enjoying civil life. Yes, even though the military, they still worry me a lot. They come to my office every time. I still teach them. I teach weapons. Yes, so I teach weapons and the ethics of the Ghana forces. So they still worry me. I still do that one too. So time is my problem, but we still have time with you people. Yeah, so the subject matter of my standing here is just about the Constitution. It's just about the Constitution. I delivered this lecture in Nairobi, Kenya, to some young law students. And then when I was going to talk, I was not holding a paper. Yes, that was, I still remember it was on the 21st of November. Yes, it was 21st of November where I delivered that lecture. So a professor called me after the lecture and told me that, oh, but you have given a very nice speech, but we don't see any paper in front of you. So we professors, we like it when you come to talk to people, then you should have something in front of you. So in fact, I decided to do that, and I copied that very well. So that's why I'm having my papers in front of me. That it guides me to be able to talk to my students. Yeah, so we are talking about the Constitution. Now, the Constitution is everything a nation needs to be able to govern itself. Without the Constitution, then there's going to be jungle tactics where every animal sees himself to be the leader. Some of you who read George Orwell book, The Animal's Kingdom, you see how the animals struggle of leadership. And so we don't want to struggle as human beings, but we'll do everything possible to make ourselves leadership oriented. So the Constitution, as it were, it is the number one supreme law that governs, propels, and regulates the smooth running of a nation. So without the Constitution, a nation definitely is going to be deviled with chaoses, acrimonies, and rancor. And then you wouldn't know who leads and who follows. And that is why Ghana decided, since 1901, decided to get itself or herself indulged in constitutional issues. Even when our forefathers, or if you want, our colonial masters, when they came to Ghana, yes, Ghana was ruled with a constitution, but that constitution was the United Kingdom constitution. And United Kingdom, as you know, they don't have a written constitution. United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, Saudi Arabia, they don't have written constitutions. What otherwise is called codified constitution. So we'll get there. So Ghana, after independence, we decided to go by the United States of America way of leadership, where they have a documented, a codified constitution, where even though our parliamentary system is now different from how they also rule, but we decided to also go by what the Americans do. So as we speak now, United Kingdom, which is our colonial masters, they don't have a written constitution, but we have our written constitution. And then they have a way of adjudicating their issues, and we'll get there, and I will let you know all these things. If only time we'll get there. So the Constitution is a written or unwritten laws that legally spells out rules and regulations that a state will follow to govern herself or itself. Now, we have written and unwritten. That's what I just spelled out right now. So it depends on the governance nature of a country that decide to follow either written or unwritten way of adjudicating themselves. So I said, so Saudi Arabia, have no written constitution, And then Canada doesn't have a written constitution. United Kingdom doesn't have a written constitution. And then New Zealand. But most of the African countries, we all have written constitutions. Ghana, that is, in fact, supposed to be the first African country to have attained independence in 1957, right? In 1957. So we have our written constitution. Nigeria has their written constitution. Kenya has their written constitution. Rwanda, where I had a single opportunity, of course, to meddle with the academia as well, also have their written constitution. And so that is where we have found ourselves now. Now, how do these countries that doesn't have written constitutions also get their laws? How do they get their laws? By statutes and acts. By statutes and acts. I hope you know the differences. Yeah, you have been parliamentarian, so I assume and presume that you should know the differences. Otherwise, you have to call me here for a full lesson. So they actually govern themselves by statutes and acts of parliament, judicial decisions. All right, what we call stare decisis in law, we call it stare decisis. All right, what the judges adjudicated on. And they realized that there was wisdom in that mindset of ruling, then they put it down. So it becomes a law. So the judges' own ideas to ensuring that law and adjudication is properly done. It's what we call stare decisis. So these people also get their laws through stare decisis. All right? Yes. And then obiter dictum, or obiter dicta. Sorry, these are all legal terms that you need to know as future legislators and law students, all right, and lawyers. So obiter dicta, ratio decidendi is what comes after the verdict. So you always hear there is a verdict in this matter. So lawyers, instead of verdicting, there is a ratio decidendi. So obiter dictum is what the judges comes together. You see them when they are about to give a ruling, they will excuse themselves, they will go there, they will vote. You have been monitoring that. So when they come back with their wisdom knowledge, then they give us the obiter dictum or obiter dicta. So the obiter dicta is the plural, obiter dictum is the one person's mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's how they get their laws to adjudicate their people. And so once I'm going to be relating it with you, to you people here, because of course I have seen so much intelligence here. And then I'm so much happy. Yes, I'll be very, very happy to see some of you becoming academic lawyers and then lawyers themselves. So I have to see, as it is now, I have not yet started practicing, but I am into the academic aspect of the law. And so I will wish to see most of you in that tangent. So they also get their laws by standing political traditions and then practices that are considered binding norms, but are typically enforced by political accountability rather than by courts. I hope you get what I'm saying. So our political system here, we have long-term traditions. Yes, Ghana being two-party system, people will say multi-party system. But multi-party system doesn't necessarily mean because so many parties come to contest for election. You see that it is either NDC or MPP. It is either NDC or MPP. So I term that two-party system. Are you getting it? So multi-party system is where any party can become a ruling government. But Ghana, it will be very difficult. Some people tried, and unfortunately, it was still MPP, NDC. So that is the system. So the traditions that actually help the traditional parties, both themselves, their followers, and the states, and they become long-time traditions and practices. So these people get their laws from those ones as well. So, Vice President, sorry, I didn't address you. Yes, so you are welcome. So that is, So that is how those people get their laws, and then many others. Do you understand? Because somebody asked me a question. So those who have those unwritten constitutions, that's why, because there's not going to be time for questions. That's what I'm just answering, and I'm also questioning myself. Because somebody would have asked me, because somebody asked me before. So those unwritten type of constitutions that other countries decided to associate themselves with, how do they get their laws? So that's what I'm just telling you, where they get their laws. Okay. Now in Ghana, after the attainment of independence, that was around 1957 to 1966, where our first Republican Constitution was enacted. So take note, as parliamentarians, you need to know what First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic, and the Fourth Republic all comes about. Because majority of us sitting here, if you ask someone right now, what is the Second Republic, he will not be able to tell you. But it's not your making. You haven't done government, you haven't done political science. Of course, I'm a political science student. My first degree in 2005 was political science for the University of Ghana. Yeah, so I started this my legal route, not today. Good. So in Ghana, after the attainment of independence, arose the first Republican Constitution, and then this actually spanned from the period of 1960 to 1966. That was the beginning and the end of the first Republican Constitution. And you know, Ghana actually was bedeviled by series of coup d'etats. Because when Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, after independence, became the first president of Ghana, he was toppled. He was toppled by a group of military officers who actually wanted to give the leadership to a military leader. Okay, so they had to topple Dr. Kwame Nkrumah out of his seat. And then after he left, the constitution that he used to rule the country was also quashed. I hope you know that. So he left with his constitution. So now, where Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was toppled or overthrown in a military coup on February 24th, 1966, by the NLC, National Liberation Council, led by Major General Ankara, Lieutenant Colonel E.K. Kotoka, and the Inspector General of Police at the time called J.W.K. Halley. They toppled him. And so when they toppled him, they started Nkrumah's, so in the nutshell, the reason why they toppled him was that they said he was being corrupted, and then he was feeling bossy. He was doing things the way he liked. In political realm, we call that authoritarianism. And that was why they decided to topple Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So if somebody asks you, so what happened at all? Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, who was doing well? I know Dr. Kwame Nkrumah actually had Africa in mind, not only Ghana. He wanted Africa to be like the United States of America. Unfortunately, it didn't work. And then he was toppled just because they said his governance was bedeviled with corruption, and that he was so authoritarian by nature. And when I say authoritarian, you know what it means. Yes, what he wants was what happened. He was feeling bossy and what have you. So that was why they toppled him. Now, they aborted Nkrumah's constitution and started the Second Republic with a new drafted constitution spanning from 1969 to 1972. So you see the Second Republic very well. Now, this Second Republic also didn't sustain itself. Unfortunately, there was another coup d'etat. And so this coup d'etat, now their rule ended by another coup d'etat by Lieutenant Colonel Kutu Ignatius Achampon. You heard about him before. Now, Ignatius Achampon was a military officer. Unfortunately, it was his time, Operation Feed Yourself, if you have heard it, came to be. He actually started very well, but at the end of the day, there were certain things he started using the state money to buy golfs. You know what you heard that story, to buy golf for girls and whatever. So at that time, the military seniorship also were not happy again with him, and so he was also toppled and this actually happened in January 13th, 1972. So the coup was The coup was so when Achampong came to power, he was also toppled again by a coup d'etat. So after that coup d'etat, then this made way to the Third Republic. He also left with his stringent draconian laws. Achampong came with draconian laws. Draconian laws are laws that are very rigid and strict, very difficult. So he came with those laws, and then he started actually abusing leadership. And so these military guys again, military people, Charlie, it's not easy for them. Yeah, they just sit and observe. When they are not happy now, they come inside. But let's pray such a thing wouldn't come again. Because military has now gone, of age, and I'm not sure those warrant officers they used to mobilize. They were the WOs were those they mobilize, but they know the nitty-gritties of the system. Yes, I stand here, I worked as a soldier for 29 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 18 years when I joined the military.
Wow.
Yeah, so I work as a so the nook and cranny of the system is my fingertips. Yeah, it's in my fingertips. So those were the people they mobilized to do all those things. But today, education has now actually come to being, and people instead of using, their ample time following people who will abuse them and whatever, they rather go to classroom to also learn and to know why I should not be used. Of course, people will just put their life to bed, forgetting that they have children, there is constitution that is supposed to be respected, and people were doing all sorts of things. But today, by the grace of God, those things we pray shouldn't happen again. And we pray for very good governance and leadership in our dear country. So that was the beginning or the birth of the Third Republic, right? Now, the leaders during the Third Republic, 1979 to 1981, I'm giving you this, was Dr. Hilary Liman. Okay, when J.J. Rawlings actually toppled General Kutu Achampong and then came inside, so he realized that yes, Rawlings was a very wonderful human being. He said, okay, let me give power back to the civil jurisdiction. And so he gave power to the civil jurisdiction. From nowhere, he came again and they toppled Hilary Liman and took over power. And the reasons why he toppled Hilary Liman, I want to give you that assignment as parliamentarian, young parliamentarian. Go and look for the reason why Dr. Hilary Liman didn't spend much of his time and was toppled again by J.J. Rawlings. So Rawlings actually took him away again. So Hilary Liman, who served as president, elected under the new 1979 constitution after military rule, transitioned back to civilian government, and then was subsequently toppled by J.J. Rawlings in late 1981. So from that late 1981, it must be noted that Rawlings first aborted attempted coup. Rawlings actually started his first coup that was aborted. So it was called a futile coup. So attempted coup was May 15, 1979, against the military government, which failed, leading to his arrest. Rawlings was arrested. In fact, they persecuted Rawlings. They removed his fingernails. Charlie, that guy is a strong guy, Yeah, they removed his fingernails, incarcerated him, but he still was able to survive and then came out and then started the Fourth Republic. So in 1979, against the military government, which failed, leading to his arrest, he was then sprung by fellow officers who successfully overthrew the government of Achampong on June 4, 1979, bringing him to power as head of state for the first time. That was Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings. So you see, that was a very courageous young officer. All right? Yeah, so Rawlings was a young officer, a captain in the military. That is where the young officership starts. So a flight lieutenant means that he was an Air Force officer. And so the equivalent of flight lieutenant to army is a captain. So from lieutenant, you move to flight lieutenant, then you start. So major is the beginning of the senior officership. So Rawlings was still a young officer, but he had that courage and had the state at heart, and then decided to stage that coup and their rulers. Now, the Republic of Ghana started, the Fourth Republic of Ghana started in 1993. 1993. With the return of democratic governance. So that was where democratic governance came. So Rawlings, after the 1981 coup, went for an election where he won, 1992 election. By that time, I was at military training. So he was duly elected constitutionally, and then he ruled up. So when we are counting the democratic governance by J.J. Rawlings, the PNDC era is not added. Then we start from the 1992, where Rawlings won a democratic constitutional democratic governance. So we started from there. Good. Now, so in 1992, where the Constitution, which was implemented, followed by the United States of American style, like I told you at my preamble, style, presidential system, with strong human rights, press freedom, press freedom, and then a separation of powers and rule of law. That was where we started enjoying the freedom of rights and then freedom of expression and the fundamental human rights as enshrined in the Constitution, chapter 5, article 12. So we go and read all the human rights issues. They are all there. Good. Powers and then we also have the stability of governance through popular sovereignty. Yes, evolving from PNDC-led reforms. So they use the PNDC era issues to reform to make Ghana a democratic hub of Africa as we speak now. And so as we speak, majority of the African countries take their political wisdom from Ghana. And I quite remember when Liberia actually went through a checkered period. And then when finally they also elected their duly constituted president, the first president, Elif Johnson Sirleaf. I was in Liberia by then. We did the election. Yes, we conducted the election. And then after that, she served all the 2 terms. Then Oponwia also came. And unfortunately, on Oponwia, after first term, then they decided not to vote him again. So those were the reforms Ghana went through, and then we respected our democratic dispensation, and that is why we are now the hub of democracy in Africa. So as young legislators and future parliamentarians, make sure that the peace Ghana is enjoying today, then it should be a persistent one. It shouldn't come to your term and then problems will start to come. So after the 1981 coup, the PNDC led by J.J. Rawlings ruled Ghana. Now, global stress and the internal pressures push for a return to civilian rule. Yes, it pushed to a return to civilian rule. So when Rawlings actually was a democratic government, he ruled. He had 2 terms, and then people wanted the civil rule to come again. And that was where Rawlings peacefully handed over to President John Ajekum Kufuor. In which year? 2001. No, it's not. Is it 2001? Very well. So that was where we started experiencing our civil rule up to present day. Good. So the PNDC established the National Commission for Democratic, called NCD, to gather public views, followed by a committee of experts, and then a consultative assembly to draft the new constitution. And that constitution was drafted in 1992. So a referendum and a promulgation was established, giving birth to the 1992 constitution. Ghanaians approved the draft in April 1993, marking the start of the Fourth Republic, with election held the previous year. So you realize that this constitution was carefully drafted because Ghana actually did not want to go back to its history of coups and what have you. So the 1992 Republican Constitution now serves as our everything as far as Ghana state is concerned. So now the Constitution. So Ghana is still currently enjoying the sovereignty and then 1992 Constitution. And then we are still enjoying the Fourth Republic, which is yet to receive mass amendment. Of course, the Constitution has had certain clauses repealed and certain clauses amended, but overall, we haven't seen the entire Constitution change apart from the 1992 Constitution we have. And we don't know, which of course I doubt, whether we will have that any moment soon. So let's pray. And that's why recently there have been constitutional review committees that looked at certain clauses that are supposed to be repealed. And there are certain conventional constitutions that the parliament, so let me just make this clear for you. We have certain laws we call conventional laws. So when parliament sits down, they are the lawmaking body, and they realize that no, this particular thing will be in favor to the very good citizens of Ghana, then they make it a law. So that law, it is not written in the written constitution, but they put it somewhere and they refer to it as and when they need to refer to it. And so those are the laws we call conventional laws. So when the constitution reaches its Republican constitution, which indeed, apart from some few clauses that people are having issues with, for example, those clauses that allow a parliamentarian to be a minister and what have you. You know, these are issues that, of course, so many people have issues with. And so I am sure going forward, you wouldn't see a parliamentarian being a minister or a minister being a parliamentarian, because there's conflict of interest in that. Because if you are a minister of state, cabinet minister, and you are also a legislature, and they are coming to rule a law against your jurisdiction, I'm very optimistic you wouldn't be happy with it. So the constitution going forward, you see some of these things being repealed, and then there will be reformation on that. Now, the Constitution is our guiding document as Ghanaians today and the future. It is the supreme law of the land. Indeed, the framework of our governance, protecting individuals' rights and promoting national development. And so I want to entreat you, try to get the Constitution, not the Makola type. We have the Makola Constitution, some small constitution. I'm sure some of you are even having it. Yes, try to look for the legal brains constitution, what the judges and the lawyers use. That's what is in my table right now. Get that one, then you get the real proper interpretation of the constitution, and the letter and spirit of the constitutions are very explicit in that. But when you have that small constitution, we call it Makola Constitution. So if you go to Makola Market, that's why all of them are using. Good. So yes, so the framework of our governance, the rule of law, and then the checks and balances are all now spelled out in our 1992 Constitution. Now, the Constitution makes us to respect the rule of laws and the separation of powers, and that's what we call constitutionality and constitutionalism. There are the two different types of, or there's the difference between constitutionality and constitutionalism. So you should be able to get the derivations of the two. Now, when you talk about constitutionality, you are talking about the law, what the Constitution says. What you are saying, it is not constitutional base. Then you talk about constitutionalism. It actually gives the political parties the impetus to know what the rule of law means, checks and balances. And so you wouldn't see a cabinet minister doing things on his own. No, there is going to be another person somewhere, of course, that is going to check him for the things that he's doing. So basically, that's the difference between constitutionality and constitutionalism. So what I tell you that, so Ghana is now enjoying constitutional freedom. Of course, you now see, you can't just see somebody and slap the person and go scot-free, because you have, of course, infringed on the person's right. So that's a constitutional matter. So constitutionality talks about those basic things. Are you getting it? Good. So we also, through this 1992 Constitution, now know the dichotomies between the various arms of government. That is the executive, the legislature, and the what? The judiciary. So Article 93, 57, and 125. So when you go to Article 124, then it will tell you about the judiciary independence. The judicial independence is very, very, very cardinal in our day-to-day learning of the Constitution. Because when the judiciary is being tampered with, trust me, the whole Ghana will be in shambles. So that is why the three arms of government, they are all autonomous by themselves. No one other arm will usurp power from the other one. Are you getting it? So when you see the judiciary coming out with their law, enactment of law, or interpretation of the Constitution, then you, the executive, who doesn't have the wherewithal to do interpretation, you just allow the judiciary to do their work. By a situation where you now see a state executive putting their hands into the work of the judiciary, then there's question mark on that particular state. We pray Ghana shouldn't reach that. Yes. So let's try as legislatures, try to know Article 93, 57, and 125. Then you also go further to know Article 124. So the 93 talk about the judiciary, the 57 talk about the legislature, then 125 talks about the executive. So these arms of government operate independently, and a usurpation of power will render one unconstitutional or a breach. Article 124, independence of judiciary, just as I just explained to you. So as future constitutional law students, lawyers, legislators, and the like, it is quite prudent to know in easy ways certain basic articles of the Constitution. Because once you find yourself in academia, you find yourself in the political ladder, you find yourself in the judicial ladder, there is the need for you to know some basic constitutional provisions. Like my clerks are sitting here. So one of them should be able to tell me what Article 1.2 says on your fingertips. As my whip, right? You are the whip? Yeah, Deputy Speaker, yes. As Deputy Speaker is there, the parliamentarians, you are here, you should be able to tell me what Article 1.1 says from the Constitution. Because when you know these things, you are good to go. For example, you know, the Constitution has a lot of provisions, but we cannot digest all of them here because most of them, we don't really need them for now, but we need it. Are you getting it? But Article 1.1, that talks about the supremacy or the sovereign nature of the Constitution. And Article 1.2, that also talks about the supreme laws of Ghana, and any other law found to be inconsistent with any of the provisions should be rendered void. You should know all those things. So when someone is actually interpreting something very wrongfully to you, or you have gone to court, and then you realize that no, what you seek to know, in fact, it was not exactly that. The Constitution, Article 2.1, says that you can proceed to the Supreme Court of Adjudicature, where proper interpretation of the particular clause or provision will be done by the judges. And you know, the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land, right? And then who can tell me the second highest court? If you just know, let me see by hand. The Supreme Court is the first. Senior. The appellate court. The appeal court. So the appeal court, they have judges not less than 10. Are you getting it? The Supreme Court is 9 to 5. So anytime at all there is a case, then they always need that odd number, either the 9 of them. So if you watch the 20, when did the election petition
2012.
2012, yes. So you see that they were there. They were 9 in number. Are you getting it? So when they are odd, they should be able to vote, and then there will be a balance. But when they are even, then there's not going to be a balance. Then the appellate court, they have about 10 judges and below. Then you come to the high court. All right, they are supposed to have about 20 judges, and you'll be surprised. The appellate court and then the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice is the #1 person in those jurisdictions. So take note of that. So the Chief Justice and any other justices that the Chief Justice feel or deem fit to put there, then they are those responsible to adjudicate on issues. Now, why appellate court? Why appeal court? Because you have gone, but you can't go to Supreme Court and come back to the appeal court. So the jurisdiction, the hierarchy goes up like that, chronologically. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you go to the Supreme Court and your matter is not heard again, then you are doomed. You are in trouble. You are in trouble. But when you go to the high court, and then your matter is not well handled, in fact, the verdict, you didn't like it, you have the right to proceed to the appeal court for your matter to be reviewed. So that's what we call judicial review. Judicial review. And then in judicial review, there are certain 3 principles that the natural justice, principle of natural justice talks about. 1, that such person should be given the ample time for his matter to be heard and give him time to organize himself. That's what we call nemo juda in causa sua. Nemo jude in causa sua, or odi ultra partem rule. Odi ultra partem rule. And the 3rd one is what we call ultra virus. So these are the 3 principles of natural justice system. So no matter the person's situation, the appellate court is supposed to give him hearing. You cannot say that, because, and you'll be surprised, the high court judge could have also even been a judge of the appellate court. But that doesn't give him the impetus to say that just because I was part of what's the name? The verdict, where you didn't get the green light of the room, so we are still going to use that against you. No. When you do that, you have also breached the Constitution, because the Constitution gives us the impetus to have free hearing. That is why they say odi ultra partem rule. Odi ultra partem rule. So, speakers, you should be able to have time, patience for your people. Let them express themselves. Unless the person who want to aggressively attack the bench, so that one you can rule over it. Otherwise, give them ample time to organize themselves and then defend themselves. So yes. So now the Constitution also talks about the last principle. Okay, I said the first principle is what? Or the ultra partem rule. The second one is what? Nemo jude in causa sua. Then the 3rd one is ultra virus. Now, ultra virus simply means that you go beyond your limit. Are you getting it? Because when you look at the appellate courts, the Supreme Court have oversight responsibility of the appellate courts. And the appellate court has oversight responsibility of the, what's the name? The high court. Then it descends that way. Are you getting it? But they all have their jurisdictional limits. So when you go beyond the jurisdictional limit, that is where we call ultra virus and many other things. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's take note of that. So now Article 1(2). Now, the Constitution shall be the supreme law of Ghana, and any other law found to be inconsistent with any provisions of the Constitution shall, to the extent of their inconsistencies, be void. So, do not just think the letter of the Constitution is enough for you to think that my rights have been infringed by the judges. No, that is why you hear the judges. Even Albambabi Sumani normally says it. It talks about the letter and spirit of the Constitution. So that letter, that Constitution is seen as a human being that changes itself. Are you getting it? So the letter of the Constitution is explicitly written on the Constitution, and that is what we are seeing. Then the spirit of the Constitution is when federals of interpretations and explanations are made that are beyond the letter of the Constitution. That is where we have what? The spirit of the Constitution. Who is here who have never heard about the spirit and letter of the Constitution before? Who haven't heard about that? Lizzie says she hasn't heard about that. The spirit and letter of the Constitution. So that's the explanation I've just given to you today. So let's take note of that. Now, Article 2.1, a person who alleges that an enactment or anything contained in or done under the authority of that or any other enactment, or 2, any act or omission of any person is inconsistent with or is in contravention of a provision of this Constitution may bring an action in the Supreme Court for a declaration to that effect. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you don't sit down to argue just because you think your matter was not properly adjudicated on or it was not properly heard. No, the Constitution has given you the mandate, the impetus, the freedom to proceed to court if you think your matter was not well heard. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So also make do with the Article 12. Take note of Article 12 up to Article 33 of the Constitution. And those are the human rights provisions. Everything about the rights, human rights are there. And I'm always very interested in Article 23. I'm so much interested in Article 23 of the Constitution because that particular provision actually warns administrative bodies, the big people. It tells you that you should be able to be fair to everybody who works under you and everybody who comes to you to seek for work. There is nothing like discriminating against somebody who comes and you don't know the person. But you know, nowadays we see violence upon violence on this particular statement. Are you getting it? So finally, the Constitution also says no person shall be deprived by another person of his right of worship, his right of life, his right of dignity, his right of creed, and what have you. So as you all sit here, you have your fundamental basic right for your everything that you are doing. But to some extent, some of these rights can be taken. When you go to Article 13, no, Article 14, Article 14.1, subsection A, B, C, D, up to G. These are exceptions where your rights can be taken from you. So I want to leave you again to go and look for that particular article. I say what? Article 14.1. Okay, subsection A, B, C, D, up to G. Go and look for those provisions, and you know why sometimes your rights can be taken from you by the same Constitution. And you wouldn't say that, no, I don't know why I was supposed to do this, but you decided to take it. For example, you see, if a lady is seriously sick, but she says that I don't want to be treated. Are you getting it? The Constitution, that's her right, but you lie. At this material moment, the Constitution will take your right from you and will take you to hospital to be treated. Yeah. No. It's gender balance. A lady or a man. Are you getting it? You know, sometimes when you say soldier man, we have soldier ladies. So for we, a soldier man is the same thing as soldier woman. So we are not used to that soldier woman. So once you join the system as a woman, you are a man. Okay, all right. So when a man or a woman is sick, and then your sickness is seriously affecting you and affecting people closer to you, and you say that don't treat me. No, the Constitution can violate that your right, and they will take you for treatment. Unless otherwise your sickness is such a way that, in fact, it's otherwise. I don't want to explain that, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, there are certain cases, do you know, in the law, to some extent, abortion is not good. Yeah? It's not a right to do that. Either by you, the man causing it, or the woman causing it. But when the doctors realize that it can be detrimental and jeopardy to your life, they can cause abortion for you to be free. So you see, these are some of the exceptions that I'm talking about. So I want to, I'm sure I've even spoken more than my time. Yeah, so let's try to go very closer to the Constitution, and let's try to respect the Youth Impact Parliament, because whilst I sat over there, I saw certain excesses that I think you need more directives to be able to get a very wonderful. I said, in Addis Ababa, I had the opportunity to go to their student parliament, and it was just like the national parliament, how they conduct themselves. Somebody was saying that you are supposed to wear this as leaders, and people will not wear. You should wear. It is your loss. You understand what I'm saying? It's your loss. Why are the clerks and then the speakers wearing their robes? Yeah, they could have also decided not to wear that. So leaders, the next time you invite me here, I want to see all leaders wear that thing. Do you understand? Yes. And when you want to make a case, address the bench very well. Address the bench very well. And that actually makes you'll be surprised. In the next 5 years, some of you will see yourself in the Parliament House.
Amen.
Oh, yes. And everything you are practicing here, you know, when are you the former speaker?
Yes.
So presiding.
Now president of the Senate.
Very good. So when the president of the Senate was going through the agenda on the, of the day, I was just happy. Because you go to Parliament House, these are some of the things that happen. And you should be able to have a recorder. Of course, you don't have something that you can take the Hansards. So have a recorder. The parliamentary Hansards, who have never heard about that. So the Hansard, if you cough, it will record it.
Is it?
So that is why, if you cough, seriously, if you cough, they will record it. Yes. So that is why when the matter becomes so palpable, and then they don't know what to do, they go and refer to the parliamentary Hansards. Because that very day, you cannot say you were not the one. Are you getting it? Some time ago, when someone made a loose comment in the house, I don't want to talk much about it. Hansards took it, so they knew the person. No, yeah, they definitely knew the person, because the Hansards definitely will record you, and they will know. They will go to voice recordings, and they will get to know the person. So get someone who will record everything, and then you should be able to know how to raise emotion, to know how to raise point of order, to raise point of correction. You should be able to know all those, whether it is like that, whether it is like that. You should be able to know all those things, and to make your youth impact parliament very viable and very interesting as it is. I wish you all the best, and then I'll stop here for only 2 questions because I'm already late. Otherwise, I'll ask permission and go. Only 2, seriously. Otherwise, I'll get a problem. It's already 3:44.
Yes,
Charlie, then let's make it 1 question.
Sir, please, 2 questions.
2 questions. Okay, so yeah, so someone, so you should select the one who you want me to answer.
I think it will be fair if you take one for majority.
Okay, for one majority, one minority.
Then, honourable members, please communicate to just one person to ask the question for you, because we don't have the luxury of time.
Yeah.
So each of the groups, majority, minority, just communicate to one of you to ask the question on your behalf, so that our guest speaker can quickly respond to it and attend to other important business. As a matter of fact, he has another lecture, but because of the love for us, he has decided to sit with us and share the knowledge with us. So please, just give your questions to one person to come and ask for you, and he will respond to it.
So the moderator should take that.
Honorable,
Yes.
that's a question.
So, sir, we only have one dispatch box, so we would allow him to ask the question
Yeah,
at the
very well.
dispatch box.
Yeah, very well.
Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and the President. The guest speaker, thank you very much for your nice presentation. The first question I want to ask is the health law part of the Constitution? Then the second one, when you started,
I thought it's one question.
He's asking for.
no,
I thought he has taken from all
You
of
are taking the two questions.
Yes. So
No, it's
Just one
He,
question.
he wants two questions.
Otherwise, you have to
in
invite me again.
okay.
Otherwise, you have to invite me again.
Okay.
So, Honorable, just ask one question. Ask your question.
Okay.
okay. I want to ask, seeing your background, and you retired with warrant officer class 1. I was thinking with your background, you can retire with a higher rank than warrant officer. So I want to find out.
So you see his question. All right.
Please.
So let me quickly answer it. Or you want the other
Yes,
one?
I want
Okay.
to take it so that you answer
Both.
everything.
All right.
Honorable Wanda.
Yeah, please.
Thanks very much for the opportunity. My name is Wanda Nicodemus Yamashi. Officer, thank you very much for enlightening us once again. We are much grateful. All right, my question here is simple. The Fourth Republic started in 92, and the first election that was held in 92 was conducted on 7 December 1992. But the Constitution was promulgated and adopted on 28th of April 1993. My question here is, what happens when there are electoral violence, when there are manipulations as far as the election is concerned, and then out of when there is a runoff, what to be the legal backing to address those remedies, since the Constitution was not promulgated or approved before the election? Thank you.
Thank you very much, our guest speaker.
Yeah. So if I heard him very well, he said the Constitution was drafted in 1992, but promulgated. It was drafted and promulgated in 1992, but came into force in 1993. Is that it? In 1993. Yes, that's your question. Very well. So yes, it is true. It is true. If there were issues, like I rightly said, there were what we call parliamentary conventions. We have, are you listening? Then we have stare decisis, the judges' rules, and what have you. So they would have used the opinion of the judges, they would have used the opinion of the legislative higher hierarchies to handle those issues at that material time. But then, once the Constitution was drafted and promulgated, it means that it was in force. If you were to do anything at all within that period to the 1993, definitely they would have still used existing laws. We have existing laws. Existing laws are common law, equity, then we have the Constitution itself. So they would have used existing laws to handle those matters before the Constitution. All right? Good. Very well. So your question, I said they will use the existing laws at the time, whilst waiting for the enforcement of the new constitution that was coming. Okay, and I said existing laws are what? Equity and the common law. And Ghana derived its laws from the common law. All right, from the common law. So that's how it is. Okay, so health laws, they are laws. The Ghana Medical Association, they have their laws, and these are the bylaws. So if you do, and you know, every bylaw takes its wisdom from the Constitution. And so when you go contrary to the bylaws, it means that you have also gone contrary to the Constitution. So we have our health laws that are in force. You understand? You see, I've given you a favor. All right. Any last question?
Sir, your closing remarks. We will not take any
All right.
question.
Okay. Thank
We
you.
will not take.
All right.
Please,
Okay.
we'll invite him again next year. Don't worry. Okay, we'll invite him.
Okay. So Mr. Speaker, President, clerks, majority, minority. It is a great honor, invited guests. It is a great honor, of course, to be in your midst today. Like I said, Honorable Jones has been following me so many times, and he knows I'm always very busy.
Yes.
But I decided to make time with you today. So it is an honor being with you today. Interacting with you is something that I actually also learned a lot. So I just want to once again tell you that take your constitutional lessons very serious. Take your legislative instruments, as it were, very serious. And then if you want to be who you want to be, take it like a World Cup. Once you are here, you'll be surprised. You'll definitely get there. And when you get there, maybe one day we all shall get there. And then by the grace of God, we shall learn together and we shall work together. I want to promise you that my doors are still open. It's just that I'm finalizing my thesis for my LLM. So I'll be graduating next year. So it makes me go to Accra and work, family, up and down. That's why you don't normally see me. Yes, as I'm here, tomorrow I'll be in Accra.
Wow.
Yes, I'll be in Accra, but I'll come to work. I'll come to work. And I'll leave around 2 to Accra. By 6, my classes starts again.
Wow.
So my doors are still open. I am ready to come to your meets. I am ready to come to anywhere. And my doors are also open in my office. If you need anything explanatory, just come to my office and together we shall work together. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.